Welcome to O'Gorman High School here for Double A boys basketball between the O'Gorman Knights and the Brookings Bobcats. Set to tip off in about a couple of minutes as we've got the starting lineups down on the court right now for both teams, and we just had the playing of our national anthem. I'm Isaac Struck, joined by Brett Byler. My first time up in the booth this year for boys or girls basketball. Had a couple of schedule issues with the other basketball games so far this year, but it's good to be back calling some O'Gorman Knights basketball for the 2024 season. Happy New Year to every one of our listeners.
Well, I think it's glad to have you back. Look forward to doing the game with you. Have a little bit of a couple-week hiatus with Christmas break, and now back to O'Gorman boys basketball. The Knights boys were last in action last Thursday, the 28th, where they beat T-Area pretty handily, 61-39. They're coming to the ball game at 3-2 on the season, 1-1 at home. So we'll see if the Knights can build off of that T-Area game, get their second straight victory. They take on the Brookings Bobcats, who are 1-4 on the young season, 1-2 on the road. They last played on Saturday afternoon when they lost at home to Yankton by 5, 52-47. They played in a lot of close games this season, so interesting to see Brookings, and glad to have you, Isaac, and you were able to watch a little bit of that T-Area game. What are some thoughts on that, maybe moving into tonight's game?
You know, that T-Area game, O'Gorman came out and probably shot the best that they could possibly shoot in a game this season. They were 9 of 12 from three-point territory in the first half. Sorry, got a little bit of a cold here. 9 of 12 from three in the first half. Henry Theobald was 6 of 10 in the game. And they came out and took a 20-4 lead in about the first 4 minutes of that one, and it was just O'Gorman Knights the rest of the way.
So now the opening tip controlled by the Bobcats with the play-by-play. Here is Isaac Struck.
So Brookings in their road black jerseys with the red numbers and red trim down the side will have the basketball first. Driving over on the right wing, that's Owen Burns, who dumps off a low pass inside to Nathan Smith. Back to Burns. It was tipped off of his hands and out of bounds.
And one starting lineup change I noticed, Isaac, is for the O'Gorman Knights tonight, instead of having Mooney start, they're having Austin Terveen start for the Knights, number 5.
So Hayden Gross with it now, hands it over to Theobald and gets it across the half-court line into the hands of Austin Terveen, who had a nice game against Sioux Falls Jefferson and then followed that up with another nice game against the T-Area Titans. As Gross will have it with under 20 on the shot clock. Hands it off to Satter, who dips it over into the hands of Theobald. Up top to Doot for 3, and that one is off the back of the iron, no good. Rebound goes to the Bobcats. Moret inside. Dish does not go for Owen Burns on the cut to the basket.
Yeah, nice look, just didn't finish the layup.
Gross dribbles over, hands it off to Terveen. Terveen off the dribble now, gets inside the paint, slices inside, and is fouled on the take to the basket by Burns.
And Terveen's kind of been the main scorer for the Knights here through 5 games this season, kind of taking over a little bit where Matt Ing left off last year on the scoring. He came off the bench the first 3 ball games. Had that really good Jefferson game. Isaac had 23 points, played well in the Christian game as well, and he's easily noticed on the court with those bright green shoes of his. And twin brother Caleb will play a little bit tonight too.
Austin's first free throw on the way is up and good.
And one thing with this O'Gorman team, Isaac, obviously I've done 2 games I've noticed is for the boys, compared to previous years, this I believe is our 10th year covering them, is they just don't have the size as previous O'Gorman teams.
Yeah, they run a lot more of a guard-heavy spread on the court. They get a lot of guys in motion, move around. You know, when you're big as Rylan Satter, who's a bulky center to have at the position, but, you know, he's not a tall specimen by any means. They like to get out and stretch you out on the floor, take you out to the perimeter a little bit, which is a change of pace from what we've seen from the Knights the last couple of years. You know, last year with Muirhead and Xander Benz, and the year before with David Alpers and John Costello, more of a post-oriented offense. Now a complete change of the tide with a more guard-heavy look, as that shot is no good.
Good defense by O'Gorman these first couple of possessions.
Doot drives inside hard to the rack and was fouled. And he'll head to the line for 2 free throws.
Keach Bior, the 6'8" senior forward, with the foul for Brookings. Yeah, you mentioned that, Isaac. Some of those O'Gorman teams, I remember in the past, they would have 3 guys in a starting lineup, 6'6" or better. So with this team, with their center at 6'3", it's just a different looking O'Gorman team, which, it'll be interesting to kind of watch them throughout the season, how coaches adjust to that play style.
Absolutely. Dute's first free throw was short, no good. That one's short as well to the same spot, but Hayden Gross corrals the offensive board and gives the Knights a second chance opportunity. Now Gross drives inside, gets to the basket, wraparound layup is good for 2.
Nice job using the backboard, a little extra English on that play. Kind of looking like Isaac Struckton a few years back.
Clark will drive across the half-court line. A lot of pressure from Henry Thibault, then dumps a pass inside that's immediately deflected by Gross into the hands of Dude over to Terveen on the right wing, who will drive, crossover, and hand it back to Gross, who will set up an offensive play here. 25 on the shot clock, hands off to Austin Terveen, who drives into the paint, hand off to Dude, gets all the way to the basket, up strong off the glass. Nice offensive board by Satter, who goes up a second time, and then Dude with the cleanup. Good for 2 and a timeout from the Bobcats. So a 6-0 lead for the Knights. And we've got our first timeout of the game. It's going to be a 30-second timeout.
And the Brookings coach, a little O'Gorman connection, Isaac, Mike McCarty, his first year was hired back in May. He played his high school basketball at Sioux Falls, O'Gorman, then went to play college at University of Sioux Falls and Black Hills State. Been in coaching for 19 years, previously up in Wyoming with the Thunder Basin girls the last 3 years. So kind of going back to his roots here in eastern South Dakota with the Bobcats boys this year.
And Thunder Basin, Wyoming, one of those teams that always comes down to the Hoop City Classic down in Mitchell. They were just down there, both their boys and girls programs were just here this last week.
Last week, yep.
Yep, at the world's only Corn Palace.
And you see a lot of the Rapid City schools, too, will go up there and they'll play Rapid City Central, Rapid City Stevens, Douglas, those West River teams as well.
Brookings will inbound here with a little bit of a full-court press from the Knights. Something that we haven't seen a lot of over the last couple of years is the Knights getting out and guarding them, 80 feet from the basket. We just didn't see that much last year, a little bit the year before, but O'Gorman, again, that athletic guard-heavy bunch here, is going to get up and guard you a long ways from the basket. Nice high-low pass. They're going to call Duke with a foul underneath the basket.
That's a matchup. Brookings has a little bit of size in both their post players, with Bior and Burns both having a little size advantage on Dude and Satter.
Inbound is going to be stolen away by Satter, who will now hand it off to Hayden Gross. Pushes it down the wing to Austin Terveen, up off the side of the backboard, and no good. A little bit of contact, not enough to warrant a foul, as Gross then gets a quick steal, and Terveen's going to be wide open for the layup. Nice defense there by Hayden Gross to intercept that pass like he was the strong safety over the middle.
Already a couple steals by Gross. O'Gorman's pressure defense causing the Bobcats all kind of issues.
Burns turns over up top. That's a three-point shot from the top of the key. Too strong, but it rolls off the rim. Then Burns grabs the rebound, and they're going to call a foul on the ground before the shot.
It's interesting that continuation rule in high school is so much different. I mean, I can tell than like college and high school. Normally in like the pro level, that would definitely been an and one, but not in high school.
So Brookings will inbound underneath the basket here. Bior will get it off the inbounds pass and then hand it off to Moret. Up top, swings it over to Clark. He'll take a three from the wing. That one's strong, no good. Rebound goes to Terveen in transition. Off the right window, too strong, no good. Duke nearly grabbed the rebound, and then Brookings will fly up the court here in transition. Pass got deflected, and then they'll settle down up top. That was Brody McCarty in there that had his pass deflected. The sophomore, 6'2" sophomore into the game for the Bobcats. Is that three from Bior, is no good.
Brookings yet to score 8-0 O'Gorman at the halfway point of the first quarter.
O'Gorman will slow down and isolate here with Hayden Gross at the top of the key. 20 on the shot clock. Gross will go off the dribble. Gets near the paint. Swings it over Satter. Little baseline jumper short, no good. Rebound to Brookings, and it's immediately turned over into the hands of Duke, who goes strong off the backboard. Got it tipped and blocked. Satter underneath and one.
Good patience by Ryland Satter that time. Let Bior kind of jump first, and then he regathered himself and went up for the layup.
Couple of subs into the game now for the Bobcats. That's number 12, Griffin Bartles, and number 10, Sam Johnson, both seniors into the game for the Bobcats. And then Caleb Terveen checks in for the Knights, and John Lent waiting to come check in here for the shooter and Satter, who misses that shot. And the rebound goes to Burns, who then immediately turns it over into the hands of Terveen. His three-pointer no good. Rebound by Burns underneath, and then Satter is going to get called with his second foul.
Brookings playing a little bit of hot potato with the ball that time. He gathered the rebound, and, that time Burns just kind of got it out so quick. The guy he's thrown to Eddie and turned around yet.
That's a couple of times that Burns has played hot potato with that basketball. It's almost like he gets it in his hands, knows that he's not going to be a threat to dribble it down the court, and wants to get rid of it as quick as he can. That time, fortunate that O'Gorman couldn't capitalize off the turnover. Clark with it over on the wing, dumps it inside to Burns, guarded by Lent, nearly had it poked out by Theobald. And then a slip at the top of the key for Bartles gets it into the hands of Johnson. Sam Johnson off the dribble now. Cut inside, turnaround, fading shot off the backboard, no good. As McCarty gets back into the paint, then turns it right back over into the hands of Terveen. And Terveen will slow it down. Knights still have a 10-0 lead here. Brookings yet to score in the first quarter. Theobald on the right wing up top to Terveen. Terveen will slow it down now, give it back to Gross, who will bring it up to the half-court line and attack from the top of the key. Hand off to Theobald. Off the dribble now to Terveen. That's Caleb Terveen with it up top to John Lent.
A little about 4 or 5 out offense for O'Gorman right now.
Theobald stop and pop, then dishes inside to John Lent, who finishes off the glass short, gets his own rebound, puts it right back up for two. And John Lent on the scoreboard as the Knights lead 12-0 with 2:20 to play here in the first quarter.
O'Gorman doing most of their work here in the first quarter in the paint, whether it's offensive rebounds or fast break baskets.
Up top now to Bartles. He'll drive around, turn around, tough two-point shot, short off the rim, no good. Still 12-0 here as Brookings has not had a shot that has actually looked like it's going to go in either. A lot of tough shots early in the shot clock for the Bobcats. Gross nearly traveled with it, then gets it into the hands of Austin Terveen. He'll go off the dribble, has it stripped away by Sam Johnson on the defensive end, who then corrals it and will bring it across the half-court line by himself. Cross-court pass over to the corner. It's Bartles. He'll drive into the free-throw line area, dump it back to Burns. He'll go off the dribble. Right-handed hook shot for Burns is good.
Nice, smooth touch by Burns. You feel like Brookings offensively wants to try to pick up the tempo as much as possible. Going against that Knights half-court defense has been tough for the Bobcats.
Terveen in the corner, pump fake the three, gets it back to Gross over on the right wing. Caleb Terveen cuts through the lane, then hands it back off to Gross, who will slow it down with 15 on the shot clock, pulls it out to the left wing. He'll use a screen from Lent, dribble into the paint, pass up top to Theobald, wide open, rattles in and out, then Lent grabbed the rebound and got fouled by Burns. That's going to be Burns' second foul.
And Lent doing good work in his about minute and a half on the court, 2 offensive rebounds, and draws the second foul, as you mentioned, Isaac, on the post player Burns for the Bobcats.
So Burns and Bior both have 2 fouls now, the 2 bigs for Brookings in foul trouble early in the first quarter. Jackson Bjorkman into the game now for the Knights, as well as number 10, Mason Clark, their first appearances this evening. Caleb Terveen, wide open three, is strong off the mark. Rebound saved by Clark. Back into the hands of Brookings. Johnson with some pace down the floor. Nice dish to the cutting McCarty off the window for 2. You love to see them play with some pace and get an open look in transition there.
Especially the smaller group, they're going to probably play really fast.
Noon Duke into the paint off the reverse from left to right, and it's 14-4 Knights.
Shot clock off, Isaac, for the Bobcats. 20 seconds left in the first half.
Yeah,
first quarter.
They'll hold for this final shot here. It's going to be Clark, guarded by Clark. Swings it over to the left wing. McCarty with it in a little bit of trouble. That pass was deflected out of bounds.
6.1 seconds left here in the first quarter.
Inbound to Clark backdoor pass thrown away out of bounds. Clark will get it with 2 seconds, 1 second. Into Lent's hands. 3 from the wing is no good at the buzzer. And that'll end the first quarter. Knights lead 14-4 over the Brookings Bobcats. We'll take a break. You're listening to O'Gorman Knights basketball here on Bishop O'Gorman Catholic School's YouTube channel. Welcome back to O'Gorman High School. It'll be Knights basketball on the side out of bounds here to start the second quarter. They lead 14-4 over the Bobcats. Coach McCarty was still upset about that foul called on Burns underneath the basket on that rebound, as now both of his bigs in foul trouble here.
Brookings in a 2-3 zone.
Nice pass inside, and then Dute gets it off the rebound and puts it in for the and one. It was Satter with the initial shot that was short, and then Dute went up and rose over everybody, grabbed that rebound, and put it back in for the and one opportunity. He was 0 for 2 at the line so far tonight, missed both of them short. Has a chance to get the +1 here as he knocks that one down. 17-4 Knights lead here in the early goings of the second quarter in a game that they've controlled from the tip.
Biggest lead for the game so far for O'Gorman, 13 right now. Your starting 5 is in the game for O'Gorman.
Bobcats will have it on the right wing. That's a tough 2-point shot, and Satter's going to pick up his 3rd foul. As Bartles went up for that jump shot and got fouled on the land.
Those are always those dangerous plays now when you kind of land in the landing space of the shooter. The old Kawhi Leonard NBA rule back in the day.
Exactly.
So Lent back in. He had a really good first quarter for O'Gorman. Look to see more of John here in the second quarter with Satter in foul trouble.
Second free throw on the way. That one no good. So 1 of 2 at the line, and the Bobcats cut the lead to 12 as Gross will bring it down the right side of the floor. Swings it over to Austin Terveen. He'll go off the dribble, hands it off to Dute. Thought about a 3, gets it back to Terveen, who looks at a cutter inside, then dishes it over to Gross, who pump fakes the 3, and back up top to Terveen. Dump inside to John Lent. Turn around over the left shoulder, just strong, no good. Good-looking shot from Lent. Looks like Lent kind of rolled his ankle on that shot opportunity. Terveen in transition. Uses a little bit of a bump and goes up and is fouled on his way to the basket. He'll go to the line to shoot 2 free throws.
Yeah, those ankle turns, they're never fun. It seemed like it happened to me about once a season in high school basketball. Let's see if John can kind of walk that one off. Usually when that happens is you're able most of the time to still play the game, but then the next morning it's very sore.
Oh, yeah. Free throw for Terveen rattles in, and now a new Bobcat checking into the game for the first time. That's Bergen Tetzloff, the 6'4" sophomore. Coming in to guard John Lent. Terveen's second free throw is up and good. He's got 6 on the night, and the Knights lead 19-5 with 6:50 left here in the second quarter. Brookings can't get that inbound in We've got a time. Oh. Yep, we got a full timeout here for the Bobcats. So we'll take a quick break. You're listening to O'Gorman Knights basketball as they lead the Bobcats 19-5 here with 6:50 to go in the second quarter.
Welcome back. We'll go through a few scores for you, and then we may see if we can get a girls O'Gorman update. They're playing in Brookings right now. That's a 7 o'clock start. OG girls 4-0 on the season. Other girls games going on right now is at Sioux Falls Lincoln. The Pure Governors Lady Govs lead Lincoln 5-2 in the first quarter. Custer defeats Sturgis Brown 51-44. We'll get the boys action here. Harrisburg boys up on Mitchell 19-9. That's 1 versus 2. Rapid City Stevens and Douglas later tonight, as is Sturgis Brown and Custer. Yankton and Huron, Aberdeen Central and Sioux Falls, Washington. So the Mitchell-Harrisburg boys game, one to watch, 1 versus 2.
That one batted out of bounds, and it will stay with the Bobcats. They're still having trouble getting that inbound in over on the baseline across from us here as they finally get one into Clark. Will dribble it down the right wing with a little bit of tempo, gets across the half-court line with 28 on the shot clock, and they'll set up an offensive possession. Bartles, tough two, short, no good. Rebound inside for the sophomore there as that one nearly lost again, and Bartles puts up another shot that's no good off the board. And now a sub coming to check into the game. Terveen, stop and pop, long two is good.
Terveen with that scorer's mentality, already 8 quick points for O'Gorman.
Yeah, he's going to look to get his shot basically every time he can down the floor. He's just got that offensive ability as that one's just thrown away. A lot of times tonight, the Bobcats have just been miscommunicating their backdoor cuts and passes. Seems like there's just a lot of commotion out there. They throw a pass that goes out of bounds without anybody touching it, and then they both look at each other with different ideas of what was going on the play at hand.
So I do got a score update with 4:33 left in the first quarter. The O'Gorman girls 7, the Brookings girls 3. We'll keep you updated on that one throughout the night. That's on the Brookings YouTube channel if you want to go to that one at halftime. Check out how that one's going.
Duke with the and one off the glass, and he's fired up as he's got 9 points on the evening and a chance to knock down another and one.
Well, it's probably fun for you, Isaac. I'm sure some of these boys you were able to coach a little bit in junior high. Now seeing them at the varsity level has to be kind of a joy for you to see their development.
Yeah, this whole junior class was my first group of AB boys at the 8th grade level as John Lent takes the defensive charge. Coach Roby fired up about that. You know, he's always been keen to say that the charge on the defensive end is the defensive dunk that you can get in basketball. It fires up the crowd. It gets the bench involved. It gets everyone pretty fired up, and you know that's a big turnover for Brookings as this is looking to be a 20-point lead if the Knights can score here. High-low pass that time stolen away by Bergen Tetzloff. Nice job of being active on the defensive end, creating the turnover. Clark out on the wing. His three-pointer is strong again. No good. Rebound goes to John Lent. Gross looked like he was going to football pass one over to Theobald on the wing and then opted not to. Drives into the paint, had it poked away. We'll set things back up offensively here. Doot off the drive into the paint. Tough finish is good.
Nice first step by Doot that time. Got nice separation, jump stop. Great offensive basket for him.
The one thing that Noon Doot has been good at since a young age is that quick first step. One of the hardest players to guard on the floor based off of his ability to beat you off the dribble. I mean, he's got a quick first step. He knows where he wants to go. You almost have to reroute him off of his target line path because if he beats you off that first quick step, you're not going to be able to slow him down from getting to that spot that he wants to get to.
And he has a game-high 12 points for the Knights as he goes to the bench.
McCarty, 3 from the wing is good. Bobcats needed that one as the score is now 26-8.
That's their first field goal here in the second quarter.
Bjorkman, top of the key, drives into the paint, up off the glass, and then gets it crotched into the rim and stuck. That'll be a jump ball, and it will go to the Bobcats. Bjorkman, the 6'3" junior.
He's getting a lot more playing time, Isaac. I had the first 2 home games, and he played very sparingly in varsity, now getting some early action in this game.
Definitely one of those role players that can provide a good spark off the bench. A long-armed 6'3", and a good firm build on him. He's able to kind of handle his own on both sides of the floor. Burns kicks to the corner. Clark's standstill 3. That one rattles in and out. Clark's had some good looks. Hasn't got any to fall yet. As now Mason Clark kicks to the corner. Austin Terveen wide open. Triple is good.
Good job by Clark pushing the pace that time. Found his shooter in the corner, and good job by Terveen drilling, and he has 11 for the Knights.
3 from the right wing is no good. Rebound tapped by Stewart into the hands of Austin Clark, who's fouled by Mason Clark. As John Lent checks back in for James Stewart. Saw some early action with Satter having those 3 fouls here in the first half. Burns' turnaround over Lent is good.
You kind of feel like that's Brookings' best offense in this game, is just trying to get the ball to him and let him go to work down low.
Terveen stop and pop 2, no good. Rebound into the hands of the Bobcats. Now Moret brings it all the way across the floor. Between the legs dribble was nearly poked away. And now Lent steals that one away from Burns, and Clark will push with some tempo into the hands of Lent in the open floor, up off the window, good for 2. So some defense creating offense there for John Lent, who poked it away on the defensive end and then had the great run out in transition, called for the ball, and got an easy layup off the window.
You always like to be rewarded when you create the turnover, and good job finding Lent that time for the Knights.
Kick to the corner, Austin Clark for 3, and that one is good. So Clark knocks down his first triple of the game. As Caleb Terveen now down the right wing. He'll drive inside. Tough finish is in and 1.
So Caleb Terveen getting in the scoring chart tonight with his first basket of the game. 2:42 left here in the second quarter from O'Gorman High School. It's a 3-2 O'Gorman Knights 33. The Brookings Bobcats at 1-4, 13. So been all night since the opening tip tonight, leading 14-4 after the first quarter, and they've pushed this lead up to 20 right now.
Caleb Terveen's free throw is up and good. As Austin Clark getting the full court pressure from Mason Clark here, uses a screen at the half court line, then kicks it over to the corner. That's a triple by Bartles that goes off the front of the rim, no good. I think that Coach McCarty a little bit upset about that shot selection of a 1-pass-3 early in the shot clock there, as Bartles has struggled to get a couple shots to fall already, as Terveen lines up a triple, can't get it to go.
Bobcats pushing the pace a little bit.
Dump down low to Burns is going to be a foul here on John Lent, as it looks like the starters, well, 3 of the starters plus Tayton Mooney checking into the game for the first time. Knights had 6 on the floor there, got it sorted out. Inbound to McCarty, dumped to Burns. Burns turns over his left shoulder. It was blocked by John Lent. They're going to call a foul. Lent looked shocked by the call there. That'll be his second foul. So him and Satter now with a little bit of foul trouble, but I bet you they let Lent finish out this half, knowing that, you have a 20-point lead. You've had Satter sitting the entire half. You probably don't want to put Satter in with 3 fouls. Stewart's already seen some action. You're going to kind of let Lent play wisely and not foul over the next 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And then as soon as I say that, they put Bjorkman in for him.
It's like Roby was listening to you and said, nope,
Yeah.
not doing that, Struck.
Just what you thought, but we're going to do the exact opposite. Burns' second free throw is up and good. Mooney into the hands of Theobald. He'll pass it up top to Gross. Gross, top of the key, jab stab, swings it over to Bjorkman, who pump faked the 3, then gets it over to Gross. He'll fire a 3 from the left wing. That one around and out, no good. Nice rebound by Bjorkman. Left hand finish off the window, good for 2.
Offensive rebounds are really killing Brookings tonight. O'Gorman getting a lot of second chance points here in the first half. A lot of different guys to contribute to that, really crashing the boards as a team.
Absolutely. Johnson couldn't handle that hot pass there from Burns, and then he'll have it back up top, swings it over to Moret. Off the dribble. Moret looking around, dumps it off to Johnson. He's got Duke guarding him at the top of the key. Swings it over to Bartles. Looked like he wanted to shoot it, then cross-court pass to the corner of Moret. Nice closeout by Tate and Mooney, and then they're going to call a foul on the drive there on Mooney.
That'll be the 5th team foul, so O'Gorman in the penalty right now. Both teams actually in the penalty.
Still going to take me some time to get used to that new bonus rule.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of that till we first broadcast. I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, if you're joining us for the first time this year, the new bonus rule is that instead of 7 team fouls for the half, and then shooting the 1-and-1 bonus, they've completely eliminated the 1-and-1 bonus, and they now make it 5 fouls of each quarter. So 5 fouls reset at the end of the quarter, and then 5 fouls gives you a 2-shot penalty instead of the 1-and-1 bonus after 7. And it's supposed to help with the speed of the game a little bit, to not, be sitting shooting free throws for the final 3 minutes of each quarter, or excuse me, the final 3 minutes of each half, because of a couple fouls early in the quarter or early in the half.
It's only as 1-on-1 misses are almost like turnovers at points as well.
Absolutely. The offensive teams were kind of getting penalized for being fouled as Bjorkman knocks down a 3 from the corner. That was another big point of emphasis, was that the teams that had leads late felt like they were being punished by a team being able to foul for a 1-and-1 free throw on a free throw shooter that might not be your strongest free throw shooter. And then when they get that foul and miss a shot, it gives the other team, an opportunity to cut into that lead. They eliminated that and now have made it 2. As Amelia Mare getting ready to check in for the Knights. Million, the 6'8" senior, getting ready to check in for the Knights here. He'll come in for Gross. Or he'll come in for, Gross, excuse me. Can't teach 6'8", that's for sure.
No, size doesn't grow on trees, that's for sure.
Free throw is up and good by Austin Clark. Makes it 39-16 here with 20 seconds left in the first half. Mason Clark will slow it down, hand it off to Theobald, and then back to Clark, who will wait that shot, or excuse me, the game clock down to probably about 10 to 8 seconds here to attack. Clark off the dribble, kicks to the corner. Bjorkman standstill triple. That one up top, no good. Rebound bouncing around and then corralled by the Bobcats. And they'll dribble out the end of the half. So after one half complete here at O'Gorman High School, the Knights lead the Bobcats 39-16. We'll take a break. We'll recap the first half when we come back. You're listening to O'Gorman Knights basketball on Bishop O'Gorman Catholic Schools YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the Bishop O'Gorman Catholic Schools YouTube channel. This is Brett Byler along with Isaac Struck for the O'Gorman boys basketball matchup tonight against the Brookings Bobcats. This game, if you're just tuning in right now, has been all O'Gorman the first half. The Knights went out to a 14-4 lead after the first quarter. It's actually 12-0. Brookings took to about 1 minute left in the first quarter to score, and then the Knights kind of poured it on a little bit in the second quarter with now a big 39-16 lead led by Nyan Dute with 12 and Austin Trevine with 11. But a lot of Knights, Isaac, getting into action in the first half. Offensive rebounds was a strength for O'Gorman, forcing turnovers defensively. A lot to like if you're Coach Roby after one half of play.
Absolutely. You know, they did a lot of exceptionally good things that half. They created turnovers. They offensive rebounded. They took advantage of the turnovers and converted them into points most of the time. But like you alluded to, those offensive rebounds have been crucial in this one. They've been able to go up, grab a board, put it right back up, and quite a few times have been fouled after getting that basket to fall on an offensive rebound for an and one opportunity.
And playing with a lot of energy tonight. That was the one thing in the Sioux Falls Christian game. I know it was a back-to-back, and that's a few weeks ago, but the energy level wasn't there for O'Gorman tonight. You see those loose balls, those 50-50 plays. I'm sure Coach Roby talks about that all the time. O'Gorman's won all of those in the first half.
So here we are for second half action as Gross swings it over to Tervine, who pops a three from the wing. Then it hits off the top of the backboard, rebounded by the Bobcats.
So that's still in play as long as it doesn't hit that stanchion up above?
Correct. As long as it doesn't hit part of the stanchion or cross over the top of the backboard. It has to cross completely over or hit the stanchion or one of those rope or twines that hangs up. As that three was good by Austin Clark. Otherwise, it's still a legal ball to be rebounded.
I like that play by Brookings, a high screen for their point guard Clark, who's they're probably their best shooter, and that's his second three of the game.
Dute off the dribble, gets into the paint, gets his defender off the ground, and then finishes off the window nicely for two. Bior went up to block that shot, and Dute did a really nice job of just staying on the ground and being patient until he was on his way down before going back up.
Really good footwork on that play.
As Satter's going to get called with his fourth.
Poor Ryland, he played the start of the second quarter, the very first possession defensively, picked up his third foul, and now the very second possession here of the third quarter, he picks up number 4. But this game being out of hand is right now a 22-point game. Roby will keep him in. Probably a closer game, he probably would put him on the bench.
Clark, again, that three-pointer from the wing looked like it was tipped, but then an offensive board for Burns, who's going to drive inside. Satter, trying his best not to foul, gives up the layup. Tervine with it over, dumps it off to Satter. Satter waits for Theobald, who has not scored yet tonight. Is that shot no good? Rebound for Dute, who goes up and puts it right back in.
That's just a little bit of strength advantage there by Dute, just kind of knocking Bior out of the way. Not really foul him, just using his body and then getting the offensive putback.
Yeah, both guys going straight up for that board, and Dute just a little bit of a hip check on the way up, completely incidental. Knocked Bior off of the track as Burns' shot from the deep 2 area is no good, and Tervine will push.
Kind of reminded me, here's a name in the past. You might be too young for this one. Mehmet Okorth, type 3. He used to play for Utah. Maybe a little bit similar build, kind of had that set shot, good three-point shooter. Kind of reminded me of that when he shot it.
Tervine kicks it over to Theobald, who turns around, then dumps it over to Tervine, drives baseline inside. Shot is off the window and good for 2. Bior came flying in to block that shot and just missed it just barely. And that shot went harmlessly off the window and down for 2.
O'Gorman man-to-man defense been very impressive so far tonight. As I say, they allow it open 3.
Bior up off the backboard, good for 2.
Rare second chance points, Isaac, for Brookings tonight. Very rare.
His first bucket of the game as Dute now will look to take him inside of the paint. Nice turnaround shot is tipped and in for Noon Dute.
Did you teach him that, Isaac?
I wish I could have, but that's that quick first step that Dute has where he's just able to get to his spot and then get you up off your feet and finish off the glass. Nice take inside. Rolls around the rim and in for Nathan Smith.
This is probably the best flow of this game so far for both teams offensively, having success here in the first 3 minutes of the third quarter.
Dude, same move again that time, just a little bit short. Actually got him with the exact same move that he just did on the last possession. Clark now drives, and then a little bit of a push off. Then he'll step into a triple. That one no good. Rebound by Satter. And now Gross will flip it up the floor to Theobald, who corrals it in the corner back up to Satter.
Little helter-skelter now. Hayden Gross, the senior, will kind of set it back up.
Slow it down a little bit here as Duke with the ball. Or excuse me, Gross with the ball. Comes off the screen from Duke. Kicks it over to Terveen, who then gets poked. They're going to say Terveen was shooting here.
We'll see. I think the refs are kind of setting up that way. I thought he might have took an extra step, too, on that move, potentially.
Yeah. Terveen knows that he was not going up to shoot that basketball there. A little bit of a smirk on the face as he steps up to the line for 2 free throws.
Well, as a shooter and a scorer, I mean, just go to the free throw line,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
You know, and see if the refs will let you shoot the free throws. That's kind of a veteran move by Terveen, playing his first real varsity experience.
I was coaching a 7th grade girls A game when Coach Rick Lynch was absent, so I took over his A team. And one of our best shooters on the floor, there was a foul in transition, and the ref ran over to make the call and then had kind of forgotten who the shooter was. And I looked at her and I told her, hey, go up and shoot the free throws here. She comfortably walked up to the line in a 2-point game. No one said anything, walked up, knocked down both free throws, and we went back and played defense. It's all about catching everyone sleeping.
Hey, Keech Bior kind of caught the Knights' defense sleeping that time as he went in for the nice little hook kind of layup shot to get. He has 4 now in the third quarter. So Brookings' offense doing a lot better here in the second half as he did at any point in the first half.
Austin Terveen over on the wing goes away from the screen from John Lent. Getting a lot of contact over on the wing, gets into the hands of Gross.
Brookings has actually outscored O'Gorman 11-9 here in the third quarter.
Gross off the dribble. Stop and pop deep mid-range jumper is good for 2. And a timeout from Coach Roby. It'll be a full timeout. So with 3:10 left here in the third quarter, we'll take a quick break and be right back. You're listening to O'Gorman Knights basketball. Welcome back to O'Gorman High School. We're going to update you with some scores from around the state here. We'll start in AA girls action as Custer defeated Sturgis Brown 51-44. O'Gorman over in Brookings right now up 33-16 at the half, and then Pierre all over Lincoln 27-12 at the half. That game over at Lincoln High School. In boys AA action, Mitchell Mitchell at home at the world's only Corn Palace leads Harrisburg 43-38. That's a battle of the number 1 and 2 team in the seed points right now. Harrisburg being the number 1 and Mitchell being the number 2. A real tight ball game to start the fourth quarter. It's 45-38 now. Rapid City Stevens up by 15 on Douglas in the third quarter. Huron on the road at Yankton up 30-23, and then Sturgis Brown on top of Custer. And Aberdeen Central and Washington should have tipped off by now. That's over in Aberdeen, waiting for a score from in Aberdeen between the Warriors and the Golden Eagles.
And Mitchell 6-0, Harrisburg 4-1 in that 1-versus-2 matchup. I have not seen Mitchell play this year, so I know a little bit more about Harrisburg because they have a few returning players. Jacoby Meerman that's played forever, but the Colonels got to the championship game last year, losing to Yankton.
Yeah, so it's weird seeing, Yankton, the team that won the state championship last year, really off to a slow start this season. You know, they won a 5-point game over Brookings, like you had mentioned at the top of the broadcast, and now down at home against Huron. Kind of a complete flip of the script for the Yankton Bucks this year.
Turnover by the Knights, then Brookings will get a nice little pass down to Clark for the layup.
Unfortunate save there by Terveen as Doot in transition. A wrap-around layup reverse is good. Looks like Doot was about to go up to slam that one in and then opted to just take the reverse layup, high degree of difficulty, and still got it to go as Austin Clark comes right down and buries a free throw line jumper. He'll be in double figures with 12 now, the leading scorer for the Bobcats.
He has 7 1/4 for Brookings.
Gross will hand it off over to Caleb Terveen, swings it over to Noon Doot. He's got it on the right wing, over to Austin Terveen in the right corner. Pump fake of the three. He's still got the ball in the corner, hands it off to Theobald, then over to Caleb, drives inside, up off the glass, and was fouled on the drive. He'll go to the line for 2 free throws.
Looking at the upcoming schedule for the O'Gorman boys, they'll play at Watertown at the Civic Arena Friday night at 7 o'clock. Then next Tuesday night, as Terveen makes the first free throw.
That thing rattled around.
Then it'll be a nice matchup against Sioux Falls, Washington next Tuesday night. And then at Yankton on the 13th and Aberdeen on the 16th. Though O'Gorman's next boys home game, Isaac, isn't until January 19th against Sioux Falls Lincoln. So after tonight's game, they'll have 4 straight on the road.
Free throw no good, but Bjorkman grabs the second chance opportunity and puts it right in for 2. Man, Bjorkman has really shined on the offensive glass today and has converted on both of those opportunities where he grabs that rebound and puts it right back in.
He's so long, Isaac, as you mentioned. Very long arms, very athletic build to him.
He's a great baseball pitcher as well. Has a really good fastball for the O'Gorman spring baseball team and also for the Renner Royals travel ball team.
That was a 3 by Sam Johnson, the senior guard for the Bobcats.
Terveen, Caleb Terveen, that is. Tough one-handed shot, no good. Looks like he kind of got pushed off of his spot. Bartles then got fouled by Mason Clark. Looks like James Stewart is coming to check in. Man, I just got an update on my phone saying that we've got a dense fog advisory in effect till tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. In a winter that has seen very limited snow, we have had some seriously interesting mornings with the fog, the ice. It's been a very interesting winter. But, you know, back in October, actually, I saw something. Oh, as Clark knocks down the and one pull-up jumper. He's really playing for Brookings. The senior, the 5'11 senior Austin Clark at 14 points now has a chance to make it 15 on the free throw. I was saying I was scrolling through, X, not Twitter, X, and saw a Kellerland News article that said that whatever the front is, I don't even remember what it was, but the curve, that the way that the weather patterns are going to hit us this year, we're going to have an abnormally dry and warm winter. And boy, has that come to the truth here in the early goings of December. I mean, I don't remember a December where we've had 50 degrees close to Christmas.
Oh, I love it. My Ford Focus car loves this weather. Not a very good winter car, so after last year's winter, we'll definitely take it. That was the very rare palming call or, carry by Bjorkman, giving Brookings the possession. You see that maybe once every 4 or 5 games.
Unless you're West River, you'll see it twice in a ball game.
A lot of charges, too, get called up that direction.
Charges, travels, and carries. They love those calls over in West River. Clark, top of the key, step back, doesn't have anything, swings it over to McCarty, who fires a 3 at the end of the quarter. No good. Burns went up for the second chance opportunity, grabbed it and got fouled on that little push shot, if you will, like a little volleyball set pass there. And he'll head to the line for 2 free throws with 1.5 seconds left in the third quarter.
And he was really good at that set pass in volleyball. Shout out to Bergen Riley. What a freshman year she had at the University of Nebraska, who got second. Lost to Texas in the final, and she just got all kinds of accolades as a freshman player. So great to see Bergen having success at the highest level in college as only a true freshman.
Absolutely. Burns knocks down both free throws. as Clark will get a chance at a half-court heave again here. Flings that one up. It's kind of on line and then goes left to end the quarter. So at the end of 3, O'Gorman 55, Brookings 38. We'll take a break. You're listening to O'Gorman Heights basketball. Welcome back to O'Gorman High School as we start the fourth quarter here. As the Brookings Bobcats will have possession, they trail 55 to 38. Clark gets into the paint, high off the glass, no good. Tipped offensive rebound back to Clark. 3 from the corner is off the side of the rim, no good. Another offensive rebound inside. This time Sam Johnson goes up and gets the shot to fall. The 5'11 senior went up and grabbed that board and then put it right back in.
And Brookings outscored O'Gorman 22-16 in the third quarter. They're only down 15 right now, so if they can get within, say, 10 at the 5-minute mark, they have a real good chance here in this game with a lot of momentum.
They've really started to trickle away here as the second half has begun, and they're starting to get some offensive opportunities and shots that they weren't in the first half, as that one dribbled off the foot for a turnover. And we're seeing them play with a lot of confidence. Terveen inside and one. And just like that, the Knights start to put it back on.
Well, they had 16 points all the first half. They have 24 right now as we still have 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Has a big basket potential and one for Terveen, who now has 16 points.
Austin Terveen's free throw that time rattles in. He's got 17 on the night. Noon Doot with 20 to lead all scorers, and then Austin Clark from Brookings with 14. Off the dribble, Clark, step back, elbow, jumper, strong, no good. Seems like the offense is running through Clark's hand. They're kind of letting him take any shot that he can get, as he's been that bright side over on the Brookings side of things this half. Doot traveled with that one, took an extra step on the gather before Terveen was able to knock down that triple from the wing.
Few subs coming in now for the Bobcats. Number 5, Nathan Smith. Number 2, Brody McCarty back in the ballgame.
So Clark will dribble up across the half-court line now. Swings it over to the wing, up top to Bior. Swings it over to Johnson. Johnson drives into the paint. Right-handed scoop shot, too strong off the rim, and then a foul? No.
I think Terveen was out of bounds when he got the rebound.
Stepped on the line, and Brookings will get another chance. That was a nice take to the hole by Johnson there, just a little bit too strong on the finish.
Bobcats, they'll be back in action on Friday night versus Brandon Valley at Brookings at 7 o'clock.
Johnson underneath. His turnaround shot too strong again.
Rim not kind to the Bobcats.
No. Terveen with it now. Swings it over to Gross. Into the hands now of Theobald. That pass was deflected, and then back up top to Terveen now. Swings it over to Gross. Stop and pop. Takes it into the paint. Nice dump off down low to Satter, whose shot is well right. Clark run out opportunity. Doot and chase, and Clark will finish with the right hand off the window. It looked like Doot was coming down to LeBron James, pinned that off the glass, and then opted not to, as he was just a touch away and didn't want to get called for an and one foul.
Gross being really unselfish that time. I think he probably could have had a layup, but kind of opted to pass it to Satter.
Dump inside to Satter. He'll back down the defender, then lose it into the hands of Johnson. Brookings with the fast break opportunity here, and then throws the pass into the hands of Austin Terveen. Terveen will drive inside, right-handed scoop shot, and he's fouled. And will head to the line for 2 free throws.
So Tatum Mooney, in for Theobald. So Theobald has 0 points tonight, coming off a really good T area game offensively. He's played really well tonight, other aspects of the game.
Inbound to Satter, right back to Gross. Tough fadeaway shot for Gross that time. Air ball. Nice save by Mooney inside to Duke for 2. Mooney went and got that one before it went out of bounds and slung a nice baseline pass underneath to a wide open Noon Dude, who's got 22 to lead all scorers.
Another second chance basket for the Knights. Kind of the theme of the game.
Clark wide open, top of the key triple is good. And a timeout from Coach McCarty over there.
And that's just not really good defensive recognition by O'Gorman. The one player that's been on fire the whole second half, and you leave him wide open for basically a straight-on three-pointer.
Looks like it'll be a full timeout here. So with 4:59 left here in the fourth quarter, we'll just keep it right here. Knights lead 60-45 over the Bobcats. But like you've alluded to, the Bobcats have had a really strong second half in this one after a sluggish first quarter where they went 6 minutes without scoring.
Well, you can just see, Isaac, how much more confident they're playing offensively. Just a lot more free-flowing, less thinking, just actually playing. And that happens when you see shots go in the basket. A team that's 1-5, lost some close games, had a lot of bad stuff happen in the first quarter. Then all of a sudden here in the start of the third quarter into the second half, the ball goes into the net a few times. You start playing a little bit faster. You know, all of a sudden this lead that was in the 20s for a while, it's at 15. What they need to do is get some stops. Because if you don't get stops, you can't exchange baskets with O'Gorman down 15. You got to be able to get 3 or 4 stops in a row, get like 8 or 9-0 run, and try to get within, say, a 3-2 possession game with about 2 minutes left.
Absolutely.
But if you're O'Gorman, you're probably going to be a little bit more methodical offensively. You don't want to turn the ball over, but obviously you want to get good shots and don't want to let the Bobcats get this within 10.
That score update from over at the Corn Palace. Mitchell 51, Harrisburg 49. There's 2 minutes to go in that one.
Ooh.
Close game over at the World's Only. Austin Terveen flicks a pass up top to Gross, swings it over to Mooney now in the left wing into the hands of Terveen. Pass up top to Gross. Gross off the dribble now. 15 on the shot clock. Ryland Satter faces up the defender. Hands it back to Gross. 10 on the shot clock now. He'll drive inside. A lot of contact. Can't get a shot off into the hands of Mooney. Nice baseline pass inside to Gross on the cut. That was a nice look there from Tate and Mooney.
A good job by Gross moving without the ball that time, too. Sometimes you can just stop. He just kept moving, and like you said, good look by Mooney.
Clark all the way to the basket. There was no help defense there that time. Satter kind of just opted to not step over right away, and Clark just saw the wide open hole to the basket and took it in for 2. Tate and Mooney with it now. Off the dribble, has to, and then throws it away for a turnover. .15 game, 3:52 left.
62-47, Knights leading the Bobcats.
Wraparound pass inside to Burns is good for 2. And, man, Clark's really playing here in the second half. He's got 21 and then dished a nice assist there. Lead down to 13. Dump to the corner. Terveen thought about a 3, wisely passes it back out to Gross. Back to Terveen now, looking inside at Satter. A little bit of a bump on the drive. Had it poked, has to get rid of it. Into the hands of Mooney, up top to Gross. Off the dribble, kick out to Satter. Up top, Terveen steps into a triple. That's a round and out, no good. Duke came in for the rebound off of his hands and out of bounds. And now Caleb Terveen will check in for Austin. And Theobald came in for Mooney, and now Bjorkman in for Duke.
Do you think this is maybe a little bit offensive, defensive substitutions potentially?
Yep, a couple of defenders in now as the Knights have been struggling to get stops on the defensive end, looking to get a little bit of a spark to propel them to a victory here. As Clark steps into one, and he's going to be fouled by Theobald.
He got kind of hit on the front and then on the back of the head, I think, from the defender behind him. And that's not what you want to do, is foul and stop the clock if you're O'Gorman.
Absolutely not. Clark's free throw around and in. Lead down to 12, the closest it's been since the first quarter.
Yeah, really the closest it's been since the end of the first quarter was 14-4.
Yeah. That one rattles in and out. Rebound by Bjorkman into the hands of Caleb Terveen now, who will bring it down the right side of the floor. Swings it over to Bjorkman into the hands of Theobald. Up top to Gross. Thought about a three. Drives inside. Shot is blocked by Bjor. Clark tried to throw it away, and then it was tipped out of bounds. And just like that, Brookings has a chance to get it within 10. Or single digits on a three. High pass over the top into the hands now of Clark. Swings it right back to Smith. Smith will go off the dribble, swings it over to Clark. Clark with the ball on the right wing. Up top to Smith. Smith thought about a three, looking inside at Bjor. Can't get anything going. Up top now to Burns. Burns. Backdoor pass to Clark. Baseline jumper, good for two. Leads down to 10 with 2:23 left to go here in the fourth quarter. Bobcats need a stop. Knights need a bucket. Something's got to give here. Swings it over to Bjorkman. Bjorkman up top to Caleb Terveen. Terveen off the dribble. Into the paint, then loses it off of his foot and out of bounds. The Bobcats get another stop.
You know, Goring just going a little bit too fast right now. I get you want to drive a little bit, but I think you want to see that more with, say, 15 on the shot clock or a little bit lower. You might want to take more time and back-to-back turnovers for O'Gorman. Well, a turnover and a blocked shot early in the shot clock.
So Brookings a chance to cut it to single digits here. Nathan Smith on the dribble now, guarded by Satter. He'll slow it down a little bit, crossover dribble. Duke gets a poke and a steal, and he's fouled. Flips up a left-handed shot, no good. It was a transition foul, but it's just going to be a team foul, and the Knights will have it underneath the basket here.
And there's probably no clear path rule in high school.
I don't think that we'll see that ever implemented because it's already hard enough to judge what you think is clear path at the NBA level, and then they can review it to see if it was. Just not the facilities to do that at the high school level. Satter back down right-handed hook shot, good. That's a big bucket there by Ryland Satter.
That's one of those shots if he missed, Roby probably be pulling his hair out, but
yep.
As long as it goes in. Oh, good defense by Duke.
Duke nearly poked that one away. He did poke it away, almost corralled it. Because now he's taking some gamble opportunities and getting a lot of hands-on passes in the passing lanes here.
If I'm O'Gorman defensively, I'm selling out pretty heavy towards Clark, trying to make anyone else take the shot right now. As hot as he has been in the second half, he has 24 in the game.
Pass was deflected, nearly stolen as Johnson corrals it. Swing over to Clark. That's a triple, and it banks off the glass, but he was fouled by Theobald on the three. So Clark will have a chance to step up to the line and knock down 3 free throws here to cut it to 9. He's got 24 on the night, a chance to make it 27. It seems like over the last few years, every team O'Gorman plays, somebody on the other team is putting up a high total of points. They don't always get beat by multiple guys in the 15 to 20 range. It always seems like there's one guy that's got endless amounts of buckets against him.
And I would consider, if I'm Brookings, if he makes his free throw, to press.
Yeah.
Be a 9-point game, get up and press and see if you can create a turnover.
Especially with the ball being a dead ball where they got to take it out of bounds and set it up. Clark knocks in the free throw. They will press. A little nice trickery there as Dute's going to get it after they threw it out of bounds. They're going to call a carry on Dute there. Second one in the game, same ref both times. But yeah, you can throw that pass to a person in that's out of bounds to another person out of bounds, and it kind of got Brookings confused there. And they got Dute wide open, and then Dute turns it over. Johnson into the paint, kicks it up top. That's a standstill three for Moret. Off the side of the rim, no good. Rebound goes to Gross. Probably.
Oh, man, that would have been a huge shot
I was
for
going to say,
Brookings. Make it a 6-point game.
That's the shot that you want, but not necessarily the player to shoot it. If that's Clark wide open there, or McCarty knocked down a couple of them today, or one of them today, that's a different ball game.
Now Brookings is one foul away from being the penalty, so you can be pretty aggressive here. Ice Wood down 8.
And they don't get the steal. They do get the foul, and they'll send Gross to the line for 2.
Be an interesting locker room after the ball game with this big lead for O'Gorman, and us kind of whittling away here in the fourth quarter.
Shot rattles in.
17-10 here for Brookings in the fourth quarter. It was 55-38 at the start of the fourth quarter.
And Bior will check in for Burns. Clark guarded full court, gets into the hands of Moret, who will dribble down. Thought about a 3, now it has nothing to do with it. Johnson all alone back door and got it to roll in. And a timeout for the Bobcats.
I thought he might have just short-armed that one just a little bit, but it just kind of hit the front of the rim and rolled in.
Yep.
And good job by Coach McCarty getting a timeout to get his defense set up, making O'Gorman have to take it out with this pressure defense. But 41-27 in the second half for Brookings. Isaac, a game that the Knights led by 23 at halftime. Brookings had only scored 16 points in the first half. It took them 7 minutes to even score a basket, and now they've gained their confidence, and they have really played well here in the second half.
Absolutely. Been a completely night and day different ball game here from one half to the other.
Now, what's the strategy if you're O'Gorman right now?
You may get a little bit tricky on the inbound and let somebody leak down the floor, but otherwise you just got to get it into a free throw shooter, somebody that's going to be able to walk up and knock down 2 free throws, because if you convert these 2 free throws, that puts all the chips in the basket or all the chips in the middle of the table that Brookings is going to have to hit a shot. Otherwise, it'll essentially effectively end the game.
Too bad Matt Ing's not on the team. He was one of the best free throw shooters in the state. He's not walking through those doors anymore.
They get it into Theobald, who dribbles around and gets fouled.
And this is his first free throw attempts of the game, too. So sometimes, if you're a free throw shooter, you've been to the line a while, that might be one you're trying who's already been there a lot. We'll see what Henry can do. First chance of free throws for him.
That one, Pierre, bottom of the well, if you will. His first points on the night.
I feel like it could be more relaxing, too, for a shooter, knowing it's not a 1-1, situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got 2 free throws. It's not huge pressure if you miss the first.
It has definitely changed the way that the game is played. Is that one tipped around in an offensive rebound? That is exactly what you can't have if you're the Bobcats there.
Now Hayden Gross, who just hit 2 free throws about 30 seconds ago, will be the recipient of 2 more attempts now.
Knocks that one in. Knocks in both free throws, so O'Gorman gets 3 points on the offensive end there. Fortunate with the offensive rebound. Clark Drives to the basket, wrap around, spins it in.
I don't know how he got that one to go in.
And they get it to Theobald. Theobald behind to Gross. Was not able to save it in, and a foul on Terveen. And now Clark is going to have a chance to put in 2 free throws here just when you thought it was over. Brookings with the little glimpse of life here.
And one thing coaches never tell you is throw the ball back underneath your own basket. That's what Theobald did that time. If you're trapped, throw it on the other end or call a timeout, which O'Gorman does have timeouts. And tough break because Clark got it right by the basket, basically.
And also, you don't ever want to save the ball throwing it towards the basket either. I mean, I know it's tough to just save the ball in general, but if you're going to save it, try to just either throw it near the sideline or down the floor. Give yourself a chance that if it is, caught by the other team, that they still have somewhere to go to score. Because if you're throwing that ball underneath your own basket, you're giving them about 2 or 3 feet before they can get a shot. If you throw that down the floor, yes, it may be caught by Brookings, but it saves you 60 feet of space and probably 5 seconds worth for a much tougher shot. Both free throws good by Terveen. Now Johnson will bring it across the half-court line. Kicks it to the corner. Burns 3. That's not the shot that you necessarily want there. And a rebound for the Knights, who then will just dribble out the clock. And that'll do it here at O'Gorman High School. The Knights win 71-61 in a high-scoring basketball game. High-scoring second half, if you will, between the Knights and the Bobcats. We'll take a quick break, then we'll recap this one when we come back. You're listening to O'Gorman Knights basketball. Welcome back to O'Gorman High School in our post-game wrap-up show between the Knights and the Bobcats, as the Knights pick up a 71-61 win over the Brookings Bobcats here at home in what was an interesting ball game, to say the least. The Knights got a early lead in the first quarter and then built on that lead in the second quarter, had a 20-point lead at multiple points of the game, and then the Bobcats came storming back in the second half. Actually outscored the Knights 45-32 in the second half, but that first half was too much to overcome for the Bobcats as the Knights still pull out a 10-point victory.
Yeah, Isaac, if you go by kind of the first part of the game and the second part of the game, Brookings took 7 minutes to score. Knights up 14-4 after the first quarter, pushed the lead to 23 at halftime, 39-16. And then it was 55-38 going into the fourth quarter. Brookings made up some ground, 6 points in the third quarter, kind of got their offense going a little bit. And then the fourth quarter is just a kind of a score fest back and forth. And Clark got really hot for Brookings. He ended up with 31 points. Most of those points, I believe 24 of them came in the second half. And they got it within, I believe, 8 or 9. They had a chance to get to 6 at one point and missed the open 3, but O'Gorman, they were able to hold on, and a little bit sloppy at the end, some quick shots, some stuff they'll learn from, being kind of some guys in first varsity experience in the first few games, where some of those plays, even though it might look open, unless you're for sure a layup, they had a turnover, they had one that was blocked, and in a game where the other team is as hot as Brookings was, those possessions with that shot clock, you kind of got to use that just a little bit more. I think Coach Roby has something to work on in the next few days.
Absolutely, and like you just said perfectly, a younger team that hasn't had that varsity experience yet, that'll come with time. It honestly could benefit O'Gorman as much as it did tonight to not win this game in blowout fashion, because they just won their last game in blowout fashion over T, where they weren't challenged late. Here, Brookings came back and put some sort of pressure on them and actually made O'Gorman have to work through playing with a lead and playing smart at the end of things instead of that, third group of guys that are closing out a 30-point ball game.
Yeah, and have to make some free throws at the end of the ball games too. That was a little extra pressure there as well. But yeah, I think for Brookings, a very game you can definitely build on the momentum-wise going into their game against Brandon Valley at home on Friday night with a 45-point second half. For O'Gorman, offensively, 71 points is great tonight. Saw a lot of good things offensively. Duke, 22 points, career high for him, I'm sure.
Yep.
And then Austin Trevine, right where he kind of left off this year with 19. Hayden Gross had a really good floor game playing point guard, had 10 points. So for the most part, there wasn't anything besides maybe a few turnovers here and there and not knowing situationally when to pull the ball back. Defensively, great in the first half. 16 points you allow in the first half, creating turnovers. Awesome job. Second half, they just kind of got a little bit away, and I think sometimes you might lose focus tendency as a team. When you're up by so much, you might not be as focused as much defensively. It's just human nature. Allow a team to kind of get back into it. All of a sudden, you have a player get as hot as Clark was. Then some of those easy shots, even the hard ones he was making at the end of the game, and the basket, I'm sure, was as big as the ocean for him. So I think you got to recognize on defensively a little bit better. If you have one guy that hot, what do we need to do to, instead of allowing him 31, to maybe stop him in the start of the fourth quarter, not allowing that big burst for him. But, it's early in the season. O'Gorman now 4-2. 2-1 at home. They'll have a game Friday night against Watertown at the Civic Arena, which doesn't ever seem like it's not a very easy place to play.
No, not at all. And every time you go to Watertown, you're going to get Watertown's best shot. And I don't think that the people of Watertown are too fond of the people of O'Gorman either. So you get a rowdy crowd, if you will, that it is a big game for them when they get to host the O'Gorman Knights. I know that when I was a senior, we went down there and took an early lead, and then really had to battle throughout the entire second half. A physical game. You're always going to get a physical game out of Watertown, especially in Watertown.
Was that an overtime game?
It was a 2-point win in regulation where it came down to free throws back and forth. Yeah. But, it's always a physical bloodbath over in Watertown. And you're always, like I said, going to get Watertown's best shot every time you come in, because if they, have a chance to beat the Sioux Falls Catholic School, they're going to do their best to have that opportunity. So the Knights do have their work cut out for them when they go to Watertown.
And then I'll just kind of recap a few of the next games for O'Gorman. Isaac, if you want to get your phone out, maybe get some scores real quick before we leave the folks. So O'Gorman's boys kind of looking at an outlook here for the next couple of weeks. All road games. They'll be on the road, as Isaac mentioned, on Friday night at Watertown, 7 p.m. start. Then at Sioux Falls, Washington, next Tuesday night at 7. At Yankton on January 13th at 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday afternoon. And then Aberdeen Central on the 16th. back at home finally on January 19th against Sioux Falls Lincoln, followed by Sioux Falls Roosevelt in back-to-back home games.
So some score updates in the girls' side of things. O'Gorman's girls beat Brookings 60-30 over in Brookings today, and Pierre on top of Lincoln 41-25, and then Custer obviously over Sturgis earlier on this evening. In boys action, Rapid City Stevens beats Douglas 51-24. Rapid City Stevens is 4-2 on the year. Douglas drops to 1-5. Huron clinging to a 7-point lead over the Yankton Bucks over in Yankton. Yankton 1-4 on the early season, their only win over Brookings. Huron 3-2 with a chance to improve to 4-2 if they can hang on. Overtime final over at the Corn Palace. The Harrisburg Tigers defeat the Mitchell Colonels 62-53. So Harrisburg was trailing heading into that final minute of the fourth quarter, tied the game, sent it to overtime, and then it was all Tigers in overtime as they defeat the Colonels 62-53. And then Sturgis Brown over Custer in that Aberdeen Central Washington game. I have no score update over there in Aberdeen.
Well, thanks so much, Isaac. It's fun to have Isaac Struck back with me tonight doing the broadcast. Isaac and I will do all the remaining home girls and boys basketball games in the regular season. So we'll have a fun month of January, February into the SODAC 16 games, which hopefully you're pretty sure the girls will host. I want to jinx them, but looking really good this year. Kent Colesru's girls going to move to 5-0 after tonight's game. And actually, it's a good segue because that'll be our next broadcast will be this Friday, January 5th. The O'Gorman girls will be taking on the Watertown Arrows right here at O'Gorman Varsity. Probably, I would say it's a 7 o'clock on the schedule. I would be in your seats by 6:30 to 6:45 because with Keeter time, we like to keep the games going. So probably like tonight's game started around 6:45.
And it always seems when we play a team that comes from a little bit of travel, they're going to do their best to start that one as early as possible.
Absolutely. So any final thoughts, Isaac? I guess we could say player of the game real quick. Final thoughts.
Yeah, player of the game probably would go to Noon Dude. I think that he did a really good job getting good offensive possessions. One thing that I think the entire O'Gorman team did a really good job of was offensive rebounding. For a team that's kind of undersized, they got a lot of second chance opportunities, not only on the rebound and putting it right back in, but also getting that rebound and kicking it out and working it around with their offense. They did a lot of good work on the offensive rebounding side of things. I think that's an encouraging thing to see this year. I know Brookings isn't necessarily gifted with size either, but if you can have a game like this where you realize that attacking the glass on the offensive end can result in some second chance opportunities, that's a good building block to use.
Absolutely. Give a shout out to me. I thought Hayden Gross played great. Kind of got the offense, got people situated where they need to go. I don't think O'Gorman really has a true point guard this year, but he does a pretty good job doing it when he has to. And the offense was very well ran tonight, 71 points for the Knights offense. That is a season high for them. Well, I guess they had 71 against Brandon Valley in the first basketball game. So a couple of days in practice to get better, and then they'll go to Watertown on Friday. We'll have the girls' game here on Friday as well. So saw a lot of good things from the Knights boys. Look forward to seeing them back in action here in a few weeks and follow them, obviously, on the road as they go through some of their games as well. For Isaac Struck, I'm Brett Byler. Thanks so much for watching. The final score tonight, O'Gorman 71, Brookings 61. Go Knights.